Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here with Bugatti at Pebble Beach, where behind me we have the most astonishing lineup of different Bugatti cars. In fact, some of the rarest and most special cars from throughout their history. It kind of breaks down to three different eras. We have the likes of the 1920s Type 35, then in the 90s you have the EB110 built in Italy, then of course the more recent era as we know it, part of the Volkswagen group, and behind me we've got a Veyron Super Sport, we've got the Chiron and Chiron Sport. We have the small series cars with Divo and also the brand newly introduced Centodieci. Not only that though, we're also going to be able to see the most expensive new car in the world, La Voiture Noire. So let's head down then. This must be the best lineup of Bugattis that you could possibly see. It's an astonishing display. Let's go and check it out. Have a look at this lineup then. The Type 35, the Veyron Super Sport, the Chiron Sport, the Divo, the EB110, the Centodieci. But let me quickly run you through these before we head and see La Voiture Noire as well. Going back though to the 20s, Bugatti was actually founded back in 1909. This year is their 110th anniversary. This is a 1927 Type 35C. Iconic Bugatti look, always though with the horseshoe, something that's been consistent throughout the different eras. We move on though to the Veyron Super Sport. The Bugatti Veyron launched back at the beginning of the 2000s and really a halo car. In fact, I think pretty much the number one car, as the Aventador goes past, the number one car basically in terms of engineering and performance and speed records on the market, and this is the final version of it, the Veyron Super Sport WRE, the World Record Edition, breaking speed barriers wherever it went pretty much. 268 miles per hour I believe, and only a handful of them were ever built. Then we get to the current series production Bugatti, the Chiron. This is actually the Chiron Sport, the updated, slightly lighter, slightly more dynamic version of the car. They'll be building 500 of them in total. Then we have the first of Bugatti's small series production runs, launched here actually 12 months ago. This is the Divo, of which only 40 are being made. They were all pre-sold out before the car was even launched. A radically aggressive, more design, but based on the framework of the Chiron and that 8-litre quad-turbo W16 underneath. Then next to it, here on the turntable, we have the brand new Centodieci. They're only making 10 of these in total at a price tag of 8 million euros net, so that's plus taxes. It's actually the most powerful Bugatti, with the engine now up to 1,600 horsepower. We're going to take more of a look at this in a moment, but basically it's been introduced. Centodieci is literally the Italian words for 110 to pay tribute to the EB110 and that period of Bugatti's history, which is summed up by the car that we can see right here, the EB110 Super Sport from the Romano Artioli period back in the 90s, as I said. But again, you'll see on all of the cars the horseshoe at the front, and quite a few of the design elements and traits from this carried into the Centodieci. So to see them side by side here is really quite something spectacular. That is the new car though, so let's head into the stand to go have a better look at it in more detail. A quick break for a moment. That's a Ferrari Testarossa. Only here at Pebble Beach do cars like that roll around, and some of the Bugattis around us too. Have a look at this then, as it spins around on the turntable. I think pretty much the highlight of this event. 10 of these will be built in 2022, so still a few years away in fact. But is this pretty much the second most expensive new car in the world, behind Bugatti's own La Voiture Noire? In fact, when you see that later on, it's quite interesting to see some of the similarities and some of the differences between the two. This very much in white with the Stormtrooper effect of all of the black and dark carbon fiber areas. The La Voiture Noire literally being the black car, translated from French, obviously the polar opposite wherever you could possibly look at it. But around here there are things that you spot from the EB110. For example, the outside layer of the tail light that you have is very much reminiscent of the shape from that car. The fixed rear wing also at the back of it, the placement of the exhaust tips, some of the side bodywork, the intake vent that you have here on the lower side skirt, also those 5 openings here, exactly reminiscent of the same on the EB110 SS. That was just on the Super Sport as opposed to every model. The rear glass, the way it's shaped, but this car is based on the framework of a Chiron in terms of the chassis and the powertrain. Of course, it's reworked for added performance, 1,600 horsepower up from the 1,500 horsepower found in the Chiron and the Chiron Sport. That means this car can go 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 62 miles per hour, in just 2.4 seconds, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour, which is 124 miles per hour, in only, get this, 6.1 seconds, and it can go 0 to 300 kilometers per hour, 186 miles per hour, in, wait for it, just 13.1 seconds. This will go on to a top speed of 380 kilometers per hour, that's 236 miles per hour, so a touch short on the 420 that can be unleashed with the Chiron when you use the speed key. But the design of it around the front, talked a little bit about it in my full video of the car. You've got the horseshoe, but it's got this new profile. It's a reimagination of what the EB110 would be. And look at this as it goes around. Look at that kind of undercut that you have with the front splitter on it as well. Completely new wheel design, but basically they've taken inspirations, modernized them, and created this new introduction. And of course, all 10 of these completely sold out before the car was ever even revealed and shown to the public, based around that 8-litre quad-turbo W16 that you have back here. One difference spot there, 1600 for the horsepower on the right bank that you have as you're looking at the rear of the car. And generally the design work, everything about it built bespoke for this car, carbon fiber body, and just, I think it's a pretty stunning thing to behold, especially in person. There's a lot going on visually, it's quite dramatic, but when you're looking at it, you can see the different shapes and see how it all comes together and see where the aero parts work as well. For example, here the curtains that you have just behind the front wheels, also around the very front, which you're going to see as the car comes around here, the way that the air flows straight the way through it. And then all of these areas, these openings for the cooling that are reminiscent of that EB110, just like the headlights, this narrow horizontal light that then heads on out. So that thing is absolutely stunning. I love looking at it. And alongside it here, we have the Centodieci Own Bugatti, 110 years of Bugatti, making 20 of these in total to celebrate their 110th anniversary. It was released at the Geneva Motor Show alongside La Voiture Noire. But the particularly clever thing about this car is the use of the dual tone configuration. The front half of the car is all this exposed satin carbon fiber, where the rear half of the car is satin paintwork, but they give the exact same optics, which is quite a difficult finish to achieve. The car also has the French blue accents that you can see around, some unique plaques that designate the 110 years of Bugatti, and check this out as well, coming around to the back, underneath the wing, you also have the French flag, the three colours, the blue, white and red, painted under there. Now the Chiron Sport versus the normal Chiron has a much louder exhaust system with the 4-round exhaust tailpipes. It has a new suspension setup. It also has some extra weight savings, for example the carbon fibre wiper blades to save a total of 18 kilos versus the regular Chiron. The Centodieci saves another 2 kilos. I mean, we're talking small numbers versus the around 2,000 kilo total weight of the car, but nonetheless just slightly more sporty. This car also has the sky view, these 2 glass panels up on the roof, which as you can see or imagine from inside gives you a fantastic view as well. It just lets more light into the cabin, so that is nonetheless a very nice thing, especially with the painted flags that you have also around the door mirrors. If we come through towards the other car that we have over here, bringing us right past these absolutely lovely replica models of the cars. In fact, look at this, with the 16 painted, that was the launch spec of the Chiron Sport. We come towards another Chiron Sport here. In fact, Chiron Sport I think pretty much taking over from the regular Chiron, but this is a car with the normal roof without the sky view panels, just looking completely menacing. Satin black wheels, this really dark satin black carbon fibre on the exterior as well, and around the back, menacing. But everything that the Chiron offers in terms of luxury and finish. Also, if you look here, you see the 1500 representing the horsepower on the W16 inside the Chiron. I think we'll come back here in a moment. For the time being, let's head over to the concept lawn at Pebble Beach to check out La Voiture Noire. This then is La Voiture Noire, the car that I filmed at the Geneva Motor Show when it was presented, and also over at Villa d'Este. This is the most expensive new car in the world, a price tag of 16.7 million euros, and there is only one of them. As you can see, it's an entirely new bodywork, like the Centodieci, a completely bespoke build car, in this case a one-off, a total one-off. It's named the Black Car. La Voiture Noire translates from French to the Black Car, after the missing Type 57 SC Atlantic from the 1930s, the one of 4 that went astray and was lost. This introduced as a tribute back to that car, an amazing story based around the engine of the Chiron, the 1500 horsepower engine, but the bodywork is all very dark tinted exposed carbon fibre, but many design cues that go back to that earlier car. And have a look actually back here, you've got 6 exhaust tailpipes integrated into the diffuser. A single taillight strip runs and curves and meanders all the way around the very back of the car. Again, wheels created exclusively for it, new bodywork. It's actually an elongated chassis. You'll see that the front end is significantly and noticeably longer than we're familiar with, but around here the horseshoe grille, as always on all of the different models, slightly wider than it would normally be found, but very present opening, cooling and airflow going through the car. You've got the headlight design here, have a look at the intricate details of that, cooling and airflow managed underneath, also around through the lower sections, but this all uniquely finished and created a homage back to that missing car from a long, long time ago, and again, part of Bugatti's illustrious history. The first of the two cars to have been launched this year. This is La Voiture Noire, and each and every time it is a stunning thing to behold. You see more details the more that you actually look at it. The central stripe, for example, the chrome contrast that runs over the top of the entire bodywork. But what an unbelievable thing to be here on display at Pebble Beach. A fantastic car, a work of art. I think there's no other way really to describe it. Isn't it incredible then to see that and then to come back here and see some of the past as well? And the Type 35C, just to fill you in a little bit more, back between 1924 and 1930, these had over 2,000 racing. Oh, there goes a Pagani Huayra BC Roadster. Huayra Roadster BC just went past. Crazy. They had over 2,000 race victories back at the time with these. Arguably one of the most successful racing cars of all time. Nowadays you see them in the classic events, the revivals, the Mille Miglia, for example. Then alongside it, this, the Veyron Super Sport, and I've got something to tell you about this actually. It's not actually one of the WREs, the World Record Editions. This is one of the, I think, 48 in total Super Sports that they made. So the standard 16.4 Veyron had the 1,000 horsepower, the 1,001 horsepower engine. This had the 1,200 horsepower engine upgrade in total. The WREs, there only was it 5, 6, 7, 8 of those in total that they actually made, but in this similar colour scheme, but with slightly different wheels, a slightly different setup. This nonetheless, though, still incredibly rare, still capable of that top speed. They just introduced a special edition of the WRE to celebrate it when they achieved the 268 miles per hour. Then of course we also have the other Chiron here with the red interior and the Divo. What an incredible lineup of cars this actually is. I can't quite believe that we're seeing them all side by side one another. Every car made with full carbon fibre bodywork, full of course engineering to the highest of degrees. They have to pass the usability test that you expect from Volkswagen Group products, and that's what's so remarkable about them, and the effortless way in which they drive, and I expect no less from the likes of the Divo and also the Centodieci. Just look at the Divo though, look at the crazy design of this, look at the additional louvres, look at the new lights they introduced for the car, the new wheels, all the openings, the airflow around the car, that shark fin that runs back towards the wing. Wow, it's quite a stunning thing to behold. And in fact, look at the interior as well. You've got different colour options, colourways from one side to the other when you look at the Divo. These will be produced at some point in the coming years, and I'm sure we'll start to see them. But imagine like a collection with a Chiron, a Divo, and one of these, the Centodieci, all alongside one another. I think this is a fantastic thing, a brilliant tribute back to the EB110. And when you see it in person, it all starts to add up and to make a little bit more sense as well. A truly remarkable car and an even more remarkable lineup here of Bugatti. Something to behold from the Type 35 through to the newest introduction, also La Voiture Noire, the whole lot, all here in one place. So I hope you've enjoyed this look then at some of the rarest cars they've ever made. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!